Welcome to a mini episode of the Trader a Traitors podcast. I'm Matthew, I work in TV development, and I am a 100% faithful. I'm recording this on Wednesday the 27th of December, which means that in 1 week we'll have the first 3 episodes of the Traitors UK Series 2, and as you can imagine, I am beyond excited. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably are too. We've now had various teaser trailers from the BBC for the new series. Claudia's back, Ardross Castle is back, and the Round Table is back. But of course we have 22 new contestants, and by the looks of it, some completely new challenges on a bigger scale. After the enormous success of Series 1, including BAFTA wins, I'm not surprised that the budget is probably a lot bigger this time around. Claudia Winkleman has also spilled some brief details in 1 or 2 interviews, saying that the tension is as high as ever, and she left one of the round table sessions shaking. She also implied that the challenges are going to operate differently this time around, which echoes other rumours I've heard. My suspicion is that either the traitors will have the chance to sabotage missions, or that there will be more money at jeopardy in the missions. And Claudia also revealed that fanfare, the armoury, is no more. Instead, it seems like shields will be won through their own challenges, much like they were in the Traitors Australia. RIP, still too fresh to talk about that. If you've listened to the podcast before, you'll no doubt know my feelings about the armoury, so I'm very happy that it's been replaced. Now, as for the podcast itself, it's going to be pretty demanding, but there will be 3 new episodes of the podcast every week. Yes, my intention is to keep up with the show, which will be dropping on BBC iPlayer every Wednesday with 3 episodes at a time. My life will probably become quite hectic, but with the help of some special guests, I'll make it work. David Bloomberg will be back with me for probably 4 episodes. Again, if you listen to the podcast, you'll know David. He hosted the entire Traitors Canada season and co-hosted our special Survivor UK season with me. David's fantastic and incredibly knowledgeable about this genre of TV, so is the perfect podcast host for the Traitors. I'll also, luckily, be joined with other guest co-hosts every episode, including various returning special guests from previous seasons, so I'm very excited to talk to them all again. In the meantime, please follow the podcast on social media. I've just posted the Spotify Wrapped stats for the podcast for 2023, which were pretty cool, so you can see those on my story. The Trader was actually the #1 podcast for almost 100 Spotify listeners, so that's awesome. You can find me at the Trader Podcast on Instagram and YouTube, or on X at the Trader Pod, or you could even email me at thetraderpodcast@gmail.com. I'll be back next week with episode 1 of season 7 of the podcast. How the hell did that happen? I'm looking forward to the show, looking forward to your comments and questions. So until then, as always, spread the word, subscribe, and stay faithful.